We still don't know precisely what that Chinese research vessel is doing while circumnavigating Australia, but it is following a recent path that was set by Chinese warships. And there is a strongly held view that it's spying, with a particular interest on submarine cables. This is a map of the submarine cable system around our region. As you can see, it is large and complex, with particular attention to where that research vessel is right now off South Australia. Those cables lie deep on the ocean floor and are about as thick as a garden hose. And if they are cut, it could cause widespread outages affecting flight schedules, cash machines and payment systems, which would have an effect on business. Former Prime Minister Tony Abbott told Sky News last night that there needs to be more of a tit-for-tat response to acts of intimidation by Beijing.
A serious country does not put up with being bullied and pushed around, and unfortunately we have been bullied and pushed around by Beijing under the current government.
Well, joining us live now is a former US Defence attaché to Australia, Ray Powell. Ray, it's good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much for your time. So further to that conversation, and as that research vessel continues on its journey, what do you think it's doing?
Well, China uses research vessels they do use it to sort of send a message that these are Chinese waters. I don't think it's doing that. That would be an odd place to do that. They do often, collect intelligence. It may be doing that, although it's awfully far away from Australia's coast, and it actually seems to be tacking a little bit southerly, which would kind of push it further away from Australia's coast. And actually, I mean, if it's tracking a submarine cable, it's not really the perfect ship for that. Now, they could have equipment on board that could map the seabed floor, but a cable might be a lot for it to pick up.
But we're just going, and again, we're speculating. We don't know exactly what it's doing, but I mean, it feels like it is intimidating us because there is form here, and it's been to other areas around the Indo-Pacific where there are those undersea cables.
Yeah, and actually, I think what's really curious is the fact that it spent 6 weeks on a bit of an international survey mission in the Pusiker Trench south of New Zealand. And I'd really be curious to see what the government of New Zealand, how their thought process went to think that this was a good idea to allow a potential adversary sort of that level of access to your near abroad.
And just given, what's going on in Taiwan at the moment, right? I mean, there is full-scale intimidation that's going on there with grey war tactics. There's stoushes that it's had in recent weeks when it comes to Vietnam or when it comes to the Philippines. And then you've got our warships around our region, and then with this research vessel, whatever it's doing. How would you define all of that? So,
China does want to continually send messages that it is powerful and that it has the ability to do you harm if it chooses to. That it basically thinks that that's in its interest. Now, it may, put that in a velvet glove, but it wants that message sent. And clearly the task group that circumnavigated Australia and conducted a live fire exercise in the Tasman Sea, that was clearly intimidation. There's really no other way to look at that one.
So when our former Prime Minister Tony Abbott says there should be tit-for-tat responses, do you think that would be wise?
China looks for pretexts to escalate. So, it's a very, very careful game that you have to play. What does tit for tat look like? And does your response then sort of give them the pretext to be able to do the next thing that they want to do? So it is a very interesting game. And, I think the other thing to keep in mind is that when we Western countries look for ways to de-escalate and we look for ways to sort of lower the temperature, China looks at that as an opportunity to reset the board in their favor. So there's no right answer, but clearly I think strength is never a bad idea. To be able to project strength just demonstrates to China that you're taking them, the threat seriously, but that you're ready for a strong response if you need to.
All righty, good to chat, Ray. Thank you. We'll see you again soon.